So tell us who you are and where you're from and who you're representing.
My name is Krista. I live in Dublin. I'm American, but I moved to Ireland 2 years ago as a missionary, and I joined the AE board earlier this year. I was talking to Stephen Mbogo earlier and talking about mission trips, and I think that having people come on mission trips and see firsthand, because you see the images on TV and you see, kids in gutters and horrible scenes, but it doesn't, you see it so often and it doesn't really mean anything anymore sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
And I think for people to be able to come here and take part in something even for a week or 2 weeks, is a huge thing because it changes you. And I think that's a big way to get people involved, and especially young people, because they're so distracted by other things. And life as a teenager or a young person in the West isn't easy either, but it's easier than it is here. So.
Mm-hmm. Krista, you were just sharing with me about having done mission trips to Mexico before. Can you tell us how the impact of going into the slum in Kenya yesterday was different? And
I think when I went to Mexico, we were working with an orphanage in Nuevo Laredo, which is a really desperate place in Mexico, and when I was going into Nairobi, I was trying to, before I got there, trying to figure out what I could expect it to be and whether it would be like Mexico and kind of what box it would fit in so that I could process the information. And when I got there, I found that it was not only more desperate than Mexico, in my experience in Mexico, but vast. It was hundreds of thousands of people, 1 million people in absolute squalor and living in shacks, and they actually pay to live there, which was amazing to me that someone has actually paid to live in a tin shack with no running water and no toilet facilities, and so the fact that that AE has been able to go in there and make a difference has been life-changing for them, I know. And when I was in Mexico, we were working with orphanages, and so the change was good in that we were helping children, but then I was frustrated that I didn't really get to see a change in the circumstances or the situation of families that have these children that they can't care for. And so it was good for me to be able to see that AE was they were able to change the environment, and make the lives of the people better there. Excuse me. So that they don't have to live in such horrible conditions. They're still horrible, and I think they're going to be horrible for a long time. But at least we can help them have a better daily life,
Right. And Edward was telling us about how they've helped, whether it's in a Muslim community or a Christian community. Were you able to see some of that yesterday?
Yeah, when we got there, they were doing the call to prayer, so it was prayer time. And so you hear the whole time.
At the mosque?
At the mosque, yes. So they had the mosque blaring over the loudspeakers, and a lot of the women that we saw had the head coverings. But I think I was asking one of the pastors there that works with them, if the work that we have done there opens up the Muslim community to them, and he said absolutely, that they're more open to them now, they welcome them in, and it's a whole different dynamic than if they were just to come in and try to preach the gospel. They probably would have been run out. Because they've invested so much in that community. They're welcome, and they're known, and they're part of the community of people there. And so I think that speaks volumes as to how to get the gospel into very close communities, is to do things like invest in them like AE has done. So. And
when we talk about invest, it's simple things like latrines and just potable drinking water supplies, isn't it? So it's not like we're talking about having to invest millions of dollars to create these opportunities for evangelism.
And I was amazed as well, because we went to one, they showed us 3, and one of them, AE had just built the latrine, and then the community around that latrine had raised the money themselves to build a shower on the side. And I felt like that was amazing because, AE gave them the start and said, look, like, we're going to help you, and they took part in the latrine building as well, but then the community was empowered to help themselves, so now they have a latrine and a shower, and they keep it up, and it's clean, as far as the toilet in Islam is clean, and it's well maintained, and there's rules. I saw there was like a sign on the door, and it had rules for the toilet and written in pencil, and they care about it. And I think that's the important thing, is that you empower a community to help themselves, So it was incredible. And before I came, I was like, oh, what am I going to add to like the board? Like, I'm so young, and what can I do to help AE? But I've been really blessed, and I think I've learned a lot from the people here. I think the AE board, their hearts for the gospel and for Africa are incredible. And so I've learned a lot from people, and been able to see that, behind AE there's people that care about Africa, and it's not just people who want to do good things or whatever, but we actually have hearts for Africa, and so the people that are pushing forward these things are people that are passionate about Christ and passionate about the gospel. So I was amazed by everyone. I've met so many people, and now I have invitations to loads of different African countries that hopefully I'll be able to go to someday. It's been an amazing experience. I
mean, I think it's quite striking that there were 4 bishops, 3 canons from different, some from different denominations. We had our dancing bishop, dancing Lutheran bishop, and the passion with which people dance their way into faith here. Was that fun for you? And can you comment on just within conservative mainstream groups, the real passion and active, almost charismatic spirit that prevails. Do you want to comment on that?
It's really exciting to see how people react, and just the morning worship that we would have it was just like, I think if you had the same songs in the West, everyone would be like, really bored and kind of, where's the Hillsong songs? Where's the, fancy band? And here they have just one person singing, and everyone is so joyful about it. And I think that's the thing that struck me the most, is that, they don't rely on massive bands and mainstream Christian music that's on the top charts. It's just heartfelt, earnest songs, and they're really joyful about it, and they dance around, and it just made me laugh every time, because I just love their joy and the simplicity of their faith. Like, it doesn't have to be complicated, and I think that I definitely overcomplicate my faith, and having to do this and that and have this and then it's okay, but they're just very simple about it, and I think that's beautiful.